Welcome to Coaching the Brave podcast with Yvonne Chase. I am Yvonne Chase, and I am here to provide you positivity and possibility because hope and community is something that we all strive for and we all really need. So enjoy and sit back. I am so thankful that you are here another week because what we're going to be discussing here is just so many fun people who are not only part of the military community, but who are also part of the civilian community and who have things to offer for the military. And it's not only about interviews and chatting together, but it's also about experiences of coaching and meditations and just fun little quirky things that come to mind that I just want to share with you. And I hope that they bring you a light at the end of the day to take with you to the rest of the week. And I hope you really enjoy. Without further ado, let's get into it. Welcome, bienvenidos to Coaching the Brave podcast with Yvonne Chase. I am Yvonne Chase, and I want to share with you a small adventure that happened to me the other week. I was scrolling through the networking group for business owners, and I came across this doula who also does yoni steaming, which is why I invited her onto the podcast. Because at first I found this yoni steaming and I thought, oh, this would be nice for me. Let me do some self care and let me schedule a consultation with her. So I clicked on her free consultation call. And on the day of the call, she mentioned she was a veteran. And obviously, if anybody knows me, you know that right away I was like, ding, 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 you have my support. So what I did was I listened to her spiel, right? Understanding what she does. She told me in depth what yoni is and how she operates her business and the process of yoni steaming. And I just knew others had to hear this too. And the fact that she is an entrepreneur veteran in the area that we live in, I mean, it's just fantastic. So I would love to share her with you all. I have invited her onto the podcast, and I'm recording this the day we were supposed to have an interview. She actually asked to reschedule because she is a doula, like I said, and one of her patients had a baby. And so she was helping her. And I'm just like, how cool is that? That is so beautiful, so cool. And I just want to share it with you all that she's a working boss. She's getting it. I love it. What an honor to have her onto the podcast today. So let me share a backstory with you, the audience, if I may, of when I was pregnant the first time. So you guys kind of get a little context. When I was pregnant back in 2013, I searched for a class that would guide me and my family through the birthing process because I was midway pregnant and I was like, I had an epiphany. I said, oh, how am I going to labor? I don't know how to do this. I need some type of guidance. Now, I had always heard about Lamaze class, but I had never heard of the Bradley method class. Look it up and you're going to be astonished. It's beautiful, this whole method. If you are interested in it, go search it. It's great. So I searched it in my area, and for this birthing class that would help me, birth naturally, because I knew I always wanted to birth naturally. I was a cesarean baby, and my mom tried very, very hard, to have me naturally, but God had other plans, and thankfully she's okay, and I'm okay, because we all know birthing can be it's a procedure. It's like a very serious event. So I wanted to have some guidance on it and how to do it naturally. So I knew I wanted to have my first baby without medication. If I could have had this doula at home with me, I totally would. But that's a story for another day. I found a doula that taught this birthing class, the Bradley method class, in a educated group setting where she guided us through the process of not only writing the birthing plan, but also what medications possibly could do to the baby and the mom, and when to ask for medications if we did want medications, and how to communicate with the staff on duty when you do go into labor. And basically, it wasn't a class for me. It was a class for my family. My parents had gone with us too because Austin had to work many nights. And so when he was able to come, he was the main coach, but my parents also were there to become coaches as well. And I found that the doula was actually teaching us that to be a birthing coach. It was a coaching class to help guide us through that process. Score. I found what I wanted. I learned so much about natural birthing and parenting afterwards with this class, and I became as natural as I could with my first baby. We learned that I could hire my teacher to be the doula in my labor. We also learned about placenta encapsulation, which is another thing that this guest has done and does, as well as postpartum vaginal care and so much more. From that point on, my husband and my parents became my coaches. The reason why I am saying this is because until I had my first baby, I never knew what a doula was, believe it or not. I knew there was a facilitator of the class, but I never knew what a doula actually did. I thought only doctors and midwives deliver babies, which, yes, but also they have assistants. Now, this guest that I have on today was not my birthing class teacher. However, it is my honor to introduce to you this military veteran doula and healer. She is a Louisiana native, served in the U.S. Army for 8.5 years. JBLM was her last duty station before medically retiring. She didn't realize it back then that her current career right now, her choice, was something she was actually doing while still active, as far as being a doula and serving pregnant people. Welcome, Nakita Thomas. Awesome. How are you doing today?
I'm great. How are you?
Good. Excited to talk with you today. I was super pumped when I found the yoni steaming online near Tacoma, near where we lived, JBLM,
Mm-hmm.
and I just needed to call you. I I felt attracted to you in some way, and I'm really glad that we did that because then I found out you were a veteran.
Yes. Uh-huh.
And I serve veterans, and the more we can network together, the better. I believe in that power of networking. So,
Exactly.
yeah. So, tell us a little bit about your military life. Tell us a little bit about who you are, and
Um, I am Nakita. I'm originally from Louisiana. I'm a Louisiana native. Um, this Fort Lewis was my last duty station here. I have a son who's 11 years old. He was born here. um, what else? I'm also a doula, placenta encapsulator, childbirth educator. and pursuing to be a midwife. So in school to be a midwife as well.
You
So that's a
are.
little bit about myself. Yeah.
Oh, I'm so excited we're here talking today. This is so up my alley. I'm
hmm
just this is wonderful. And what branch of the military were you in?
I was in the army, and
Okay.
I did about 8.5 years, and I medically retired out.
All
hmm
right. Were you active, reserve, National Guard?
Active, yes, I was active duty. hmm
Yes. Thank you for your service. Woo!
Thank you.
Yes. And in your bio, you said that you didn't realize that your military career was actually something that you're passionate about and that you're doing right now. Tell
hmm
us, what was that?
So I was in the military. I was kind of like a paper pusher. I did a lot of things, but outside of that, I don't know what made me do it. Don't ask me why. I don't, a calling, the universe, I don't know. But I started to notice that I started supporting the pregnant women in my unit that were single, or the pregnant women's spouses whose soldiers had deployed and things like that. So I started putting together like baby showers for them, finding like old used clothes or people that donated, and was able to provide strollers and like a lot of things like that, because people think like there's no struggle in the military, and sometimes it is.
Oh, yeah.
It really can be a struggle. So I started doing that, and then it's transferred to me supporting them in the hospital setting. And at the time, I didn't know it was a doula because I never heard of it before.
Yeah.
Never knew it existed. And I would just support them because, being in the hospital alone can be kind of, especially when your spouse or like you just being a single soldier, you don't have the support. So I went in to support them. And then I did notice that there was a difference in the Black women that I served, the people of color that I served treatment compared to the white women. And it made me do some research, and I found out about systematic racism within the healthcare field, and how the
Yes.
stereotypes of Black women and how they're treated in the hospital, and how they die at a higher rate than any
Mhm.
other race. So I was like, wow, I want to pursue this. So I started using my tuition assistance in school and started doing my nursing. And yeah, that's how it began.
Girl, don't stop there. Keep going.
Yeah, so I used my tuition assistance, and also when I re-enlisted, I realized that the duty stations that they wanted me to go to, I didn't like, so I opted to do school ops, which my place of duty would be school for 6 months instead of working for the military. So I did that about twice, to where I ended up getting, by the time I did separate out the military, I got my nursing degree, and I got a dual degree. Then I used my post 9/11 to continue my nursing stuff. I ended up doing CNA work and like a lot of things like that that was required. And then someone
Yeah.
told me about doulas, because I was like, where do I really want to be a doula? I went from wanting to be like work with children, one of them that I just wanted. Now I was like, okay, I want to be a doula. And someone
Yes.
introduced me to this woman that had a doula training program here in Tacoma, and I went to her training, did my research on the different programs, and that was the one that was more drawn to. I felt like
Mm.
she was more passionate, and when I looked for doula training, I also wanted them to target the statistics. I just, because doula work is for everybody, but I wanted to be able to have the education on how to serve my community. So
Yes.
her training actually targeted, how do we help people of color and minority, low income communities. So I went to her, amazing training, got certified. And then I was like, and I started kind of building my business, but I didn't know what I was doing because I'm first
Yeah.
generation. I'm first generation. Like first generation to go to college, first generation to own a business. So like I didn't know what I was doing. So it was
Wow.
kind of slow. Um,
Mhm.
and then a friend of mine, and then I got into, when I started doing more research, I got into midwifery. And I was like, oh, not only could I be a doula, which coincides with midwifery, but I can also provide certain care. And then, of course, also deliver babies.
Yes.
So, and I found a school, and I just took a leap of faith. I used my post 9/11, and I applied to Bastyr University. That's in Washington State. It was a
Okay.
midwifery school, and I got accepted, and I started my midwife journey. And I kind of put the doula stuff on hold, but I'm kind of glad I did, because I gained extra more knowledge
Mm.
about hospitals and home births and like what it takes for women in birth. So I gained a little bit more education on that. And then school kind of got a little rough because I am a single mom and I
Mhm.
don't really have that much support out here.
Yes.
So I end up taking a break on school, but then I end up building a self-care skincare line for women. So I make nipple balms. I sell yoni steam kits so that they can do postpartum steaming at home and like things like that. Because I took an herbology class while I was in Bastyr University, and I just was like, let me turn this into a business
Hell
on top of my
yes.
business.
I love
So I
everything
had
you're
a
saying.
yeah. So I started doing that, and then I started getting more involved with the community, and
Mhm.
because I wanted people to know what doulas are, because I realized I wasn't getting the clientele.
Mhm.
It's like people were interested, but they were kind of like, I really don't know what that is. So I started
Mhm.
being invited to like community events where I can speak, set up tables with information, educational material about what doulas are, which I'm so thankful for the community allowing me that space. And clientele started building up. And
Yes.
I got an award in 2021. I partnered with the Tacoma Urban League. Shout out to Tawana Nobles if she ever sees this. I call her my
Yes.
fairy godmother.
Share it with
Um,
her.
she put together a pregnancy care program for the community for people of color to be able to have access to doulas for free who couldn't afford it.
Oh,
And me and a couple of doulas from in the community got together, and we were awarded a doula award for being part of the community and providing services.
oh my
And
god.
from there, I just was like, you know what? And then I learned about yoni steams too, because one of my clients was like, well, I see that you sell the yoni steams at home for home, but I'll feel more comfortable coming into a space. And I was like, you know
Mhm.
what? You're right. Like some people just don't want to risk it, and
Mhm.
providing a space where you can just come and also just meditate or just like whatever you want to do to get away from whatever. Like sometimes you got to get out your home, you know
Exactly. Yes.
so I was like, that is a good idea. Let me see about looking for, financial investments and things like that to find a space to open up a Yoni Steam spa. So I ended up finding a space and I opened up a spa.
Yes.
And now I have a spa. And right now, I'm still rebuilding clientele, and
Mhm.
I'm trying to host classes. Is I have
Okay.
a thing called Love Your Yoni, Learn Your Yoni,
Mhm.
and it's to teach women about what yoni steams are, the ancient history of it, the physical, emotional, and physical healing aspects of it, the purpose of it, like how it can benefit your life, whether you're on a spiritual journey or you just trying to take care of your body inside and out. So yeah.
Oh my gosh. And how do you do these? Do you go out into the community or do you go to, let's say, bachelorette parties or I don't know, how do you do?
So I do go into communities, but right now, as a business owner, first time business owner, I'm learning a lot of things. So I have been trying to network and get out there to see, hey, can I come to your passion parties or your
Yeah.
wedding parties and talk and maybe do like invite you guys, because my space is kind of small right now. And I
Okay.
am trying to get it to where I can have maybe a mobile Yoni theme thing to where I can actually do parties or expand to where I can have more than two people come in if they did want to do parties. But right now, I do go out to pop up shops. I do try to get into seminars and things like that. And of course, on my website, I do one on one classes or I do group classes if people want to book those as well.
Oh my gosh, that is so wonderful. So if you're listening to this right now, please just go over what is your website?
I can actually pin the link or send the links to you.
Yeah.
Um,
Perfect. So yeah, send them to me. I'll put them in the show notes and then people could just like go down to the show notes and just click on it and then it'll send them right to you.
yes. Right now,
Yeah.
my major goal is to branch back out to the military because it's been hard because is when you're in the military world, your proximity is the military, right?
Yep.
Like that is,
Exactly.
what you're around. And then when you transition to civilian world, it's kind of hard having that as your proximity because now the civilian world is your proximity.
Yeah.
So now that I'm in Tacoma, I am trying to make it to where not only do I have locals, but I do want to have military spouses and veterans and active duty and things like that to be my clients.
Yes, absolutely. And your prices are amazing. They're less than getting your manicure pretty much.
Mhm.
And it's so beneficial for you. I just remember calling you and you just explaining the whole thing. You did not want me to be a client until I knew what
Mhm.
it was and how it could benefit me, and what the risks are as well. And
Mhm.
that was just so beautiful to me. I really enjoyed that.
My major focus is my work. So my business is also pregnancy care. So
Okay.
I am a doula, and then I do postpartum services too.
Yes.
Um, so my postpartum services, the prices vary, but what I do is I go into homes forever how long you need me,
Hmm.
and you pick your schedule, whether it's morning time, sometimes nighttime, depending on, because I do have a child as well. But I'll
Right.
come into your home. I might do light cleaning, grocery shopping for you, light cooking, giving you self care time, date time for you and your spouse, um, providing resources for like lactation support and things like that.
Oh my gosh, that is beautiful. You know, I have heard of resources like that within the military, like the MWR, or one of the, how many resources we have for the military. And then
Hmm.
it's just like, it just gets overwhelming. And then we don't know what exactly it all is. So for
And that's
you,
actually what I've been trying to do. So now that I'm getting all my, veteran stuff and stuff like that to get on base, I want to connect with the MWR so that I can host
yes.
events like Meet the Doula events so that the community can know that I exist, and education classes on, providing them to let them educate them on what we do as doulas, what yoni steaming is about, postpartum care, and things like that. So I have been trying
Absolutely.
to do that.
If there is anything that I can help with, let me know because we could
I would appreciate that.
definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like you said, networking. Like I love to
exactly.
network.
Absolutely. If you guys have any questions for Miss Nikita, definitely hit her up on Instagram.
Yes. I'm also
Yeah,
answering questions. I'm also
awesome.
gonna start doing mail steaming. So I'm also
Yeah,
gonna
that's
put
right.
together, yeah, put together classes for men too to educate them on the benefits of mail steaming, which is called ligament.
Okay.
So yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yes, check it out. That'll be nice to do with couples as well,
Yes.
or like Valentine's Day just passed, or even just self-care monthly.
Exactly, promoting that self-care and bonding in the community. And that's one of
Exactly.
my goals too, is to always bring like mental health awareness, self-care,
Mhm.
self-love. Like those are like my mottos. Like right now I'm trying to find a mission statement for my business, and that's the terms that is just sticking in my head.
There you go. Stick to it. That's your gut right there. Absolutely. Well, that's amazing. You're first generation business owner, first generation to go to college. Congratulations. That's
Thank you.
huge. Yes.
Hmm.
And then you're a veteran too. Are you first generation veteran as well?
No, so my both of my parents actually did serve, but they didn't serve as long as me. But they did serve, and they served back in the days. I
Wow.
honestly wasn't gonna do the military thing, but I'm from a small country town where like Walmart is our mall. And I was like, man, I really need to get out of here. And like I don't know no other way. Like I thought I wanted to be a fashion designer, and
Okay.
I did go to school for that, but I'm not gonna hold you. I fumbled that back. I
That's
partied,
okay.
and I was like, well, this is not for me. And I was like, but when I went back home, I was like, yeah, I need to do something with my life. And I just like, I'll just join the military.
Oh my gosh. And your story is so beautiful, so genuine. So thank you so much for being so honest with us here today and being so
No
present.
problem.
I'm really curious as to how many babies you've delivered.
Ooh, you know what? I told myself that I really got to start keeping count because it's like tattoos. People be like, how many
Yeah.
tattoos do you have? And I'm like, but I will say I've been doing this since 2018. And then I started a couple of clients from then. And then when I got into midwifery school, you have to do shadowing, or we call it preceptorship, where you shadow a midwife because you have to have so many babies delivered before you can graduate and get your license.
Okay.
So I started doing that. And then I did become a midwife's assistant. I forgot to tell you that.
Nice.
So like,
Congrats.
dang, I would really say maybe 20 to 20 births, 20, 30 births, something at that time.
Oh my gosh, you're gonna make me cry. That is so beautiful. Oh,
It is, and I love it.
I bet. So before, when I told you that I already recorded your intro, I mean, I think it's amazing, but that's also, I'm very biased. But my experience with a midwife and a doula was for my first daughter, well, my
Hmm.
daughter, my first child. And I knew about Lamaze, but I didn't know about anything else. And when I contacted a doula to do a birthing class, the doula that I contacted, she was a Bradley method um, doula, a teacher, a
Mm,
coach. And so I learned about that type of birthing.
right, which I haven't like quite. I don't know. There's so many different like versions of doulas,
Yeah.
and that's okay, you know. But my goal is to save lives, right?
Right.
My goal is to dismantle statistics and things,
Yes.
stereotypes and stuff. So, like, the way I doula is more, I don't know how to explain it. Like, I kind of did turn it into my own thing. Like, most of my clients will, I educate them on, hey, hospital births is not the only births, right?
Yep.
Like I educate them on you can birth at the hospital if that's for you. You can have a birthing center birth with a midwife if that's for you, or you can have a home birth if that's for you. And I give them the opportunity to research and educate themselves on what it is. I connect with the midwife that I actually was in working with in school, and because they typically refer me out,
Nice.
and I set up meet and greets with them so that they can also sit down with midwives and get education from their perspective and kind of get the feel of the environment and things like that. And whatever they choose is the best option for them, then we build a birth plan off of that and then go
Mm.
from there, you know. And then I
Yes.
advocate. So yeah.
Yeah. So your style is more of the individualized plan, which is
Mm-hmm.
really more beneficial for the mom and the child and the family.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That is I mean, amazing. Amazing.
Yes.
And so when you consider yourself, you know, I know you said that you didn't have much support here. So how has that affected, if any, your progress with your business and being a veteran transitioning out?
To be transparent, it's been hard and it still is hard, you know. I have to do most of the leg room. I have to get out there and say who's willing to support me, you know. Like I try to go look at nonprofits who will donate to me and things like that, you know, just to help me out with like I said, the Tacoma Urban League is godsend because they're how I got started. They paid my
Mm,
startup fees for my business, my deposit for my space, and money for my equipment. But it's like that's not always going to be there for me, you know. And I applied to grants and things like that. I don't always win, but it's like I try to reach out to the community, you know, like, hey, with you guys, I can grow. The more you review me, the more you donate, the more you come in and basically be a client and refer me. It
yeah,
builds revenue to where now, because at this moment in my business, the money that I do make just goes back into my business, right?
right.
As far as like supplies and stuff. But I'm trying to get it to the point where that revenue expands my business so that I can
Yes,
provide more to the community. So,
yes,
yeah.
absolutely. Beautiful. So you're looking at nonprofits in the community, you're looking at your community. Um,
Mhm.
do you have you know, friends, family here? Has your family moved up here? They're
No,
still
my
down there?
family. So this is another reason why I actually got into yoni steaming because at first I stumbled upon it because they made it seem like it was such a trend, like, oh, this is this new thing, yoni steaming. But it was like, hmm. So on my spiritual journey, I really connected with my ancestors, and they're like, this is more than just a trend. This is like for healing
Yeah.
spiritually as well. Like a lot of us have trauma, a lot of us have
Mm.
inner womb trauma. We have childhood trauma, and in our community, especially in the Black community, mental health and self care and things like that, especially with women, is not talked about. It's like we carry
Mhm.
the whole community on our shoulders, and our cup is empty after we done poured it to everyone. So
Yeah.
then I started learning that this is a way to connect with your inner self and heal and things like that. So I come from a very broken family, and I've been basically taking care of myself for a very long time. So therefore, I had to heal in a lot of areas, as well as being a doula. You do have to do a lot of inner root work, so
Mhm.
that because you carry on other energies and things like that.
Yep.
So right now, it's like the support that I have. I don't. My family, like I said, we're very not tight knitted, and I'm okay with that because the community has become my family. So I do have some support with the friends in the community that I have that helps and shows up when I need them to show up.
That is so important because as you grow, you learn also that what you grew up with doesn't always serve you in your growth.
Hmm. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
And one of my goals is to see if I could start getting into like high schoolers, teaching them about,
Mhm.
taking care of your womb and learning your womb and loving your womb, because society will mess up your head when it comes to that,
Absolutely.
and
Absolutely.
and I wish that I had role models to
Mhm.
guide me and teach me about self-worth and self-love and things like that at a young age.
Yes, absolutely. Oh, I already know who I wanna connect you with.
That is amazing because I have
Yeah,
so many things that I want to do. And it's just
yeah.
like when you don't know where to start or go, it becomes very frustrating. And sometimes I'm like, okay, I'm done.
Yeah, no,
I'm just so done.
entrepreneurship, let me tell you, it could be lonely. We talk about
Hmm.
I'm a part of a group where we're all trying to up level and we all say it. It gets lonely up here, like here. It just we
Hmm.
need each other. We need a community in and of itself to help grow and help others because that's ultimately our main goal.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. So yeah, definitely gonna help connect you there. And then if anybody else has any other resources or connections or
Yes.
anything like that, just message us, find us on Instagram.
Yeah. And
Exciting.
another thing that I also stumbled across before I connected, well, right after I connected with you, a
Uh-huh.
client reached out to me for doula services, and I found out she was Native. And I didn't know that the tribe pays for their doula services. So I'm going to start connecting with certain tribes around the community to see if I can provide doula care and services to the indigenous women,
There
because
you go.
they need support too.
There you go.
Mhm.
Absolutely. And here in Washington, we have I mean, it's a vast majority of
Mhm.
indigenous population that we have here. And that's
Yeah.
amazing.
So
Oh
if
yeah.
anyone's listening that knows tribes that are looking for doulas or want to know what they are, I can do education classes and seminars. Just reach out to me.
Heck yeah. Oh, I love it. Is there anything that you would like to provide the audience with as far as, something to gear them and be hopeful for in the future, or even something that you've learned as a active or now veteran or entrepreneur? Anything that they can take away from?
Um, One of the things that I keep telling myself that I have been telling everybody is what's for you is for you. So whatever you put your mind to, whatever you feel is your passion, your goal, you might have hiccups. Things might not always turn out the way, but if it's for you, it's always going to work out. So never give up, because there's times I like almost gave up on this business and something was like, just don't. And now I'm at a point where things are now looking the way I envisioned them to look.
Yes.
So yeah. Hmm.
Yes. So basically, just pivot and keep the
Hmm.
momentum going.
Hmm.
If it's for you, it's for you. I love that. Yes. Awesome. Do you want to add anything else?
And then my Instagram is both of them are birth and life doula services / childbirth education. Both of those is my Instagram and my Facebook. And my booking is birth and life doula services, .booski.com.
And I've enjoyed our talk together.
Yeah, I know. Hopefully this podcast helps with my clientele. I really do want to get out in the community more and educate more about what doulas are, because now I'm learning that it's so many women that have came to me and was like, oh, my first pregnancy was so traumatic, or this pregnancy was so traumatic. And I don't want women to no longer have traumatic experiences, let alone pass that image down to other women. To now women are like, oh, I'm so terrified. I'm so terrified. You know, my last client, that was her thing. She was like, I'm so terrified. And I said, hey, you hired me to do a job and we're going to do this job, you
Hell
know.
yeah.
And it was some trials and some things, but I advocated and advocated and advocated for her, and it was a hard birth, but we got through it. And she just thanked me so much because she wanted to give up. She wanted to give in to what the doctors was telling her, and I even had to argue with doctors like, "This is not our plan. Let me do my job, and if my job isn't working out, then we can do your job."
Right.
And my job worked.
Yay!
So, you know,
Yes. That is so beautiful. And the experience of just having someone there advocating for you in that moment of just you have no control. Your body is taking over.
mhm.
And for someone to know what that experience is, and then someone to have that expertise and that love, that passion like you do, and I can already feel that, it's so beneficial for the baby and
It
for the
is, because
mom.
it gets scary, because I could only imagine if I wasn't there how her birth would have been, you know?
Mm.
And it's unfortunate. And I don't say this doc hospitals, because there was staff in there that was amazing. Actually, the ones that actually think the universe works in so many
Oh,
ways, I tell
yeah.
you. So let me just give you a rundown before we go.
Sure.
So this client is a first time mom. She's in her early 20s, you know, and young and healthy. But towards the end of her birth, right before our last appointment, she ended up going to the doctors, and the doctor was like, "Oh, your blood pressure is a little too high." So they wanted to tell her, they told her to go to the hospital and admit, to make sure preeclampsia and things is not
Right.
developing, which is great protocol. So she went in, and then they did admit her because it was like, okay, we cannot get your blood pressure down. That kind of freaked her out. And I said, okay, because in another thing with birth, I have to tell my clients that even though you have a birth plan, birth is unpredictable, and
Yeah.
sometimes it's not going to go how you plan. But the goal is to make sure you're safe and your baby's safe and healthy. That is always going to be the end goal. So no matter what, we're still going to make it a beautiful experience. So I told her, I was like, hey, she doesn't like hospitals. That's another thing, you know, like it becomes. So I already took, because I like to give my clients affirmations to read and
Mm.
write down throughout their whole pregnancy, so they can start mapping their mind that no matter what environment they're birthed in, their mindset is like, this is okay.
Yep.
So she started going back to those affirmations, and it felt okay, but her blood pressure didn't go up. So we ended up being in the hospital for about a week, right? So then her water finally broke like the fifth day of being in the hospital.
Mm.
But her body was not reacting the way it was supposed to be, which is understanding. You've been contracting for a whole week, your body's
Yeah.
tired, right?
Yep.
The doctors, and I noticed that sometimes certain doctors will come in and say things to her and trigger her, and her blood pressure will spike and da 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 da. So I would tell her, hey, let's focus on us, let's focus on these things. And there was a group of staff members that came in that they loved. And then I loved them too, because when I did ask the other staff members, like, hey, can you please inform me and keep me updated on da da da, they had attitudes. They were like, I don't think I'm allowed to do that. I'm busy. And I'm like, I just need you to if you get new updates, whether you tell her support system that's in there, somebody needs to be informing me of what's going on. I don't know how that's so hard to do,
Yeah.
you know? So, so I was a little frustrated too. And I felt her energy. I'm like, yeah, they're really messing up. Cause at first she wanted to go to another hospital, but I'm like,
Okay.
we can't do that right now. So long story short, the staff that was amazing, they were so informative. They called me. They were just so amazing.
Oh,
So
that's great.
one staff member came in, and this is where things took a turn. This set of doctors came in, and they were like, well, we noticed that you haven't made any progress or whatever. And we're probably going to push for a cesarean and then maybe a hysterectomy. And I was like,
Mm.
whoa, wait, what? How do we get there?
That escalated so fast.
So fast. And I immediately, normally I don't go to the hospitals until they are literally in active labor, but I
Mm.
jumped up so quick and went to that hospital. I said, we're not having this conversation until I get there, because it's not
Yeah.
making no logical sense to me. I
Yep.
really need to know the reasons why you're deciding to not only go for a cesarean when this is her first birth. And I tell hospitals sometimes, if you don't have to do a cesarean, because that rules out most women being able to have a VBAC next time.
Right. Yep.
And if it's their first child, that's not fair to them
Right.
at all. So if it's not a necessary emergency, let's not make that normal, okay?
Yeah.
So I got to the hospital and they tried to explain to me, well, she's just been contracting so long and we think that she's going to hemorrhage. And I just think that sometimes verbiage and how you explain things puts fear.
Oh, yeah.
So immediately she's fearful, like, oh my God, why do I have to have this hysterectomy? I'm never going to be able to have kids again. And I said, look.
Yep. And that shuts down the brain right there, automatic.
Right there. And I said,
Yep.
let's say, I said, how about this? How about we do my job? I said, how about this, doctor? I'm going to do my job as a doula to get her to progress.
Yes.
This is the time frame right now. I think it was like, at this point, it was 10 o'clock at night. The next change of doctors was supposed to be 7 in the morning. I said by 7 in the morning, if she has not got to at least 9 centimeters dilated, then we could discuss that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And one of those things is when we get there, then we could discuss it. But let's not put this fear and things in, because it progresses our delay. Yep. So when they left, I had to shift the environment, shift her mindset. Do you know by 7 o'clock in the morning, she was 9.5 centimeters?
Oh, yeah.
And she didn't hemorrhage.
Oh, thank God.
She healed just fine. And the doctor that did come in and do the birth was the doctors that we did like. Because then that was another thing. We asked specifically for her. The nurses was like, she's going to already be at another birth. Okay, that's fine. But can you please ask her if, even if her presence just being in was, and she ended up being able to deliver the baby.
Oh my gosh.
She ended up being able to deliver, and it was so good. We worked as a team. They heard me advocate for her. Like, hey, she doesn't like to be touched. She doesn't like men in the room. Like, let's just, and she had a beautiful baby.
Oh, thank God. Oh.
Yeah. But that was a scary, rough, hard birth. And that's why I say if I wasn't there, because at one point she was like, I'm just tired. Let's do the cesarean. And I'm like, no, we're not. I don't want you to regret this.
No, doulas were meant, the history of doulas goes so ancient. It's the first baby deliverers,
Mm-hmm.
That is something that is so sacred, so primal. It's what you're meant to do as a woman. Like, that is, if you're ever going to have a gift, like, that would be it. And if you haven't, that's okay. That's okay. I'm not saying that you should or no.
Right.
I'm not saying that. But I mean, thank you for what you do, honestly.
Yeah, I was just happy. That right there showed me that this is what I do it for, because it was a hard one.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Well, I cannot wait to meet you in person.
Yes.
I will be there, I think, next week. Yeah.
Yes, you will. You have a whole pampering session.
I can't wait. All right. I thank you, Nakita, and bless you. I'm so excited to see where
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Bye.
Bye-bye.
What an amazing conversation that was. Thank you so much for sharing your expertise, your knowledge, and your skills with the Coaching the Brave community. We appreciate you so much. And for you listeners out there, if you enjoyed it and it really touched your heart and you thought of someone that it could benefit, share it with them. Thank you again for listening. I encourage you to review. Check out my website as well, YovannaChase.com, and find me on Instagram and Facebook at Yovanna Chase Coaches. And I am here because I want to help you succeed. I want to help you be a more positive you. And right now I'm doing a promotion where you will get a one-on-one holistic fat loss program. You can get a free 15-minute call with me. So if you head on over to my IG, under my bio, you can find that Calendly link where you can go ahead and sign up for that. I'm excited to speak with you in person, oh my gosh, through this Zoom virtual life here. So if you are interested or know someone who might be interested in losing 20 pounds in 90 days holistically, please share, sign up. And again, I cannot wait to talk with you next week. Have a wonderful week.